So, what I'm thinking is, which I can't believe I'm saying or proposing, actually, the in a particular way, the experiment of American governance over the last 300 years has been good and healthy and has been a wonderful journey down many lines of thought. One in particular, which was necessary in order for us to come to a healthier place and understanding, was the, for example, delineation between church and state, separating the bodies of governance and authority over soul versus law of the land and more physicality, so to speak. You could argue, an argument could be made that, earlier governing bodies were driven by the idea of just purely religious, right? And so America was like, well, let's attempt to separate these two. And I really think it was more so because of corruption. The religious bodies had been conflated and mixed and confused, and one religious body governing the law of the land government versus another could change things. So the authoritative bodies of government should be independent from religious, quote unquote, influence and quote unquote religious authority. But what I'm thinking of now is it was a worthwhile journey, but due to bulk conscious, what needs to be fermented and honed is something more unified. Compartmentalization has been bastardized in more ways than we're willing to perceive, and one of the missing elements, if we could tone down the word religious and turn it into philosophical, is the mixing of the two, which is why we gave the religious bodies any authority to begin with, because we thought if anyone could handle the consequences or the battle within and the hard decisions in actuating governance in the benefit for all, for the collective, it would be a religious body. And I think that turned into crusades, never-ending crusades, and a lot of the American response. The story of William Brewster with King James and the triggers that caused ultimately the initiating factors of what America is today. It was the same struggles of the Crusades. Brought home, and even though we're, in that time and place, we're all brothers and sisters, and we're all pretty much equal, and we're just splitting hairs. There isn't enough cultural, philosophical, moralistic, spiritual foundation in order for them to perceive this and experience any kind of unification. It's only after these hundreds of years of processing and America making this delineation, saying, no, these two bodies should be separate. And rightly so. Time and place. But the biggest battle in front of us, the biggest enemy, is cultural revolution. The biggest enemy is inside of us, and the missing element is a cultural revolution. Our inability to grow, adapt, change, evolve, assume new understanding, having the courage to look at new understandings, perceive our shadows and our problems and want to evolve beyond them. So, long story short, what I'm seeing and proposing is some kind of reunification. I'm not saying put the Vatican directly in DC or any other body, but what religion is supposed to be, what it became, why founding fathers are delineating between church and state, and very simply what I'm proposing be put back together. Similarly with healthcare, it should be like doctors. They shouldn't just be celebrities that can sell really well. It should be educated people. It should be experienced people. It should be learned people who have wrapped their mind around philosophy and, dare I say, religion, and education into moral values, and can prove that. And that's up to us. It's up to us to vote those kind of people in, to put them on the center stage. I mean, for Christ's sake, if anything, the last 8 years has taught us is that anybody can do it, and anybody can get there if we support them. It's all in your head, and it's all in your belief of what we say is possible and what's not possible. Look at what everybody did this year, and what they said was possible against all odds. It wasn't the first time. It happened again. It happened, 8 years ago. You remember? 90% chance, 99% and a 1% chance of him winning. My only point with that is, at the end of the day, our will trumps everything. Our will supersedes and is in control. Our collective decision making, our will, and in conclusion, what I think I'm going to target is a revolution of holding a higher standard of people that we put into authority. Religion and state should be separate. But it should also be somewhat of an obligation in order to get in. Like, how funny is it that the deepest parts of our military and government are so compartmentalized beyond understanding and recognition? And seemingly so is our collective psyche when we are saying, the soul or the concepts of the soul and the understanding and meaning of that belong over here and strictly over here, and governing bodies belong over here. The same thing with healthcare. I'm only saying that the people that we put in place with these ultimate powers should have knowledge, experience, and understanding. We should be electing doctors and scientists and philosophers, not just celebrities and salesmen. I'm not saying anything new and original. I'm just seeing a little bit deeper into it, separation of church and state. What is the church supposed to be, and what is the state supposed to be? Our standards should be infinitely higher than they are now. And that begins and ends with us. When we say it does, when we believe in it. So start thinking these thoughts and start imagining things like this. We can do better. We will do better. One day at a time.